before we get into this week's review, there's a very important matter that we must discuss. I called it! Oh, man, you guys are so predictable. Oh, it feels so good to be right. Anyway, on with the review. This week's episode, again, doesn't open with the usual intro, but at least we got some Homari as she was jogging during the early morning, with it being so cold that she could see her own breath. Wish I could say I relate, but I live in Hawaii, so yeah. Believe me, we sometimes pine for snow if only to counterbalance this damn humidity. And after the OP that's already gotten rid of Henri during the Karasu shot, again, what was even the point of that? We cut over to the pre-gear, getting ready to cheer for Homari's figure skating performance. I'm guessing they delayed the competition due to one of the competitors suddenly becoming a pre-cure, while making a banner that I'm sure Taiga would be proud of. Homari and Harry have a cute, if a little nauseating, exchange that ended with Homari running off. And honestly, I don't see why she would do that. She's just in love with a hamster from the future who traveled back in time with his girlfriend, who is now a toddler, whom Homari herself raised somewhat like a daughter, and you know, the more I think about it, the more I realize this is one of the weirdest anime romances ever, and that's saying something. Heck, even the robot agreed with me when 3 of the other pre-cure consulted Purple and confirmed the painfully obvious. Regardless, with that knowledge in mind, they were worried that Homari might not be able to concentrate during the competition as a result. Elsewhere, Saya, who likely already figured out their relationship long before everyone else, remember the pre-cure of knowledge, went to consult Homari. They had a nice exchange, with Saya being surprisingly direct, though it was warranted since their battle was almost over and their friends from the future would be leaving soon. However, their talk was soon interrupted by a nosy rodent. You know, it's a good thing you're getting a focus episode next week, because you really need to consider getting some ad-libbing episodes if that's the best you can do. Anyway, Harry invited Homari out for some ice cream to calm her nerves before the competition, but Homari declined. Personally, I think it had less to do with the romantic tension and more to do with the fact that it's too cold to eat ice cream. Again, she could see her own breath. Unless you're Shiori Misaka, I don't think ice cream is the appropriate snack for the season. We then cut over to Bishin trying to seek comfort with his fellow hamster buddy Risto, and wow, those are some bags. Really, I think all of the remaining staff in this company are more than a little off kilter. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if their president did something really... Okay, Georgie boy, Hanson says that they've run out of chocolate chip. Will oatmeal raisins suffice? Before the cops could get there, he did have a quick conversation with Hana in which he tried to get her to join their side, stating that she more than anyone else should know how truly fleeting hope can be sometimes. At the ice rink, Homari was practicing her routine, but had a certain hamster on the mind. She soon received more consultation, this time by the only male pre-cure, if you ignore Waffles, again still kind of peeved about that, in which he basically stated that she shouldn't try to blame her lack of concentration on everyone else, and should just face her problems head on so that she could become the one true Homari Kagayaki she really wanted to be. Later that night, everyone had a hard time getting some sleep. My favorite bit during all of this coming from Eru, who actually cheered while sleepwalking. I think the crew of Anima Yell would kill for a dedicated member like that. Thankfully, Homari got some comfort from her mother, who probably recognized that her daughter was love-struck and consulted her by talking about her complicated relationship with Homari's father. Yeah, they really didn't confirm anything, but they did hint that they were either divorced or they might not have even exchanged their vows, which, wow, that's actually subject matter I didn't expect to see in Precure. But regardless, she was happy that at the very least she was able to give birth to Homari. Great stuff. The next day, the figure skating competition was about to begin, and good gravy, that's an ugly statue.
Modern art! I loathe modern art!
Well, anyway, the Precure did their part to cheer their friend on, including doing something I wish a lot more anime would do, resolve a love triangle. And after pretty much reading off his character description, Homari says the 3 most important words. Congrats, Precure, you've officially surpassed the majority of romantic anime out there. God, isn't that sad? But of course, Harry's answer was a foregone conclusion. On top of needing to go back to the future, Harry admitted his heart belonged to someone else. Again, still a better conclusion than most anime romances out there. With a massive weight lifted off her shoulders, Homari could finally fly to the heights she was always meant to. The highlight of this episode was definitely Homari's figure skating performance. On top of a beautiful montage reflecting on her relationship with Harry, we also got a great insert song from her actress Yui Ogura. That, while listening to it, Dan Homari's monologue made me realize how much Ogura was lowering her octaves to play her. Seriously, major kudos there. Obviously, her routine went well with Homari even pulling off that quad axel she hinted at a while back. However, we can't end a Precure episode without a Monster of the Week fight, and of course Bishi would use that ugly fairy statue as an avatar. Seriously, could somebody call Deadpool to give this thing the slow, agonizing death it deserves? They have a well-animated, if brief fight with Homari pretty much soloing it. Pretty sure that's what Kuroko always wants to say to Toma every time he gets close to Misaki. Still, with the resolve to create a tomorrow for the person she loved, Homari was able to ground the mosquito statue, let's call it what it really is, and they defeated it. With that, the episode ended with Homari winning the competition, and as I mentioned, Saya getting ready for her episode next week. Yeah, considering how she's been treated throughout the season, it's hard to blame this girl for being a little antsy and even trying to take some screen time from her teammate this week. Among all the subplots this season, the Homari-Harry ship was probably one of the more consistently well-written stories, and while I wasn't a huge fan of it personally, more on me, I'm not that much of a romantic buff, I will say this was a very satisfying conclusion, so yeah, high marks. While I would have preferred more focus on Homari getting back into figure skating, like practicing to pull off that quad axel they kind of built up, it is clear that that's not what they want to focus on with her. And unlike many things this season, this subplot did have proper build-up, going back as far as episode 12, if not earlier. Make jokes if you want about their species, I know I've made plenty. This show established a clear relationship between these two, and that it could only really end on a bittersweet note. They stuck with it, and I have to praise them for that. I'll also praise the amount of restraint this episode showed throughout. From Homari's mother talking about her rocky relationship with her maybe husband, to Homari's confession, they did the wise thing and just let these scenes play out and let the emotions of the characters do most of the talking. Sure, there were still some over-the-top moments, but most of them involved Bishi, so can't expect any less, really. That said, I do kind of wish the fourth wheel in this relationship got just a little more screen time. Because really, at this point, the Yandere is probably the most interesting villain left, so I do kind of wish we could have seen more of their conflict, like maybe actually seeing the reaction to Restall's reprogramming. With only a few episodes left, I'm predicting that Bishin's resolution will be lumped together with someone else's, probably Restall, and again, I think this character deserves better. Overall, I did enjoy this episode in spite of those flaws. While one figure skater didn't quite stick the landing last week, another one did with her story. If you haven't seen some of my previous videos, I'm currently working on a review for Symphogear G. It's about 50% done, but the holidays might slow down production just a little. Those cards don't write themselves. Also, a certain game has been dominating my life for the past few days, but I'll still try to get it out as soon as I can. And until then, though, farewell for now, my friends. And I'm currently debating on whether I should main Ken or Simon. God, the range on that whip is OP.